Andrew Bosworth, Mark Zuckerberg's right-hand man, is set to spearhead the AI revolution at Meta. For more, we're joined by Dr. Karen Sutherland from University of the Sunshine Coast. Talk to us about what inspired the leadership of Meta's AI revolution.
Honestly, I think they just really want to save money and I guess maybe even just lead this space to show what a large organisation can be when it is really driven by AI.
Very much. How is AI expected to shape the future direction of Meta? Because we see they've been pushing in that way.
They've actually laid off 8,000 of their staff, which is 10% of their overall staff, and they've shifted 7,000 into more AI-focused roles. What they've been doing is kind of sneaky. So they've been measuring and monitoring things like keystrokes and mouse clicks, but also getting their staff to wear devices and things to track and monitor the tasks that they're doing to see what they can then automate and then put these people out of a job, essentially.
Which I'm imagining a lot of businesses are doing at the moment because everyone is looking for ways to save money, obviously. Talk to us about the biggest challenges in implementing AI at Meta.
They've got a massive workforce, but then also looking at how they're actually going to pay for this technology. And what I'm seeing is out in the space is that yes, okay, you empower your people to use AI, which is great, but then the cost of tokens and the use of technology can be ridiculously expensive when you don't have any sort of guardrails around it, even when they're producing their own AI. There was a company not that long ago who had chewed up their whole AI budget in a few weeks because they were using autonomous agents and they empowered their staff to do so. It's going to be really interesting to see just how doing this on such a large scale, what the consequences will be by doing that and what the fallout will be. The costs not only to the budget, but also to the people who have lost their jobs and the ones who are still there forced to use AI in this way.
Yeah, very much. What does collaboration with Mark Zuckerberg involve at a strategic level, do you think, when it comes to AI?
That's a very good question. I think he's always trying to lead the way. We saw it with things like the metaverse and things like that. So I wonder if he's actually being really strategic or he's being maybe a bit extreme with what they're doing at this point in time. So I don't know. I don't know what collaboration would look like with him. Would it be more like, I'm thinking of this, make it happen? Or would it be, what do you think of this idea? It's going to be interesting to see what actually happens as a result of these huge layoffs and if Meta can actually do it. We've seen when AI has been used to do things like analyze and monitor posts that are supposedly against community guidelines and things of that nature, which often they don't do very well. So what's going to happen when they've laid off all these people and having that sort of that human judgment over what they're doing?
It's pretty scary stuff when you put it that way. Which AI innovations are currently the most exciting within Meta? Because we keep talking about AI, but what's actually happening?
It'd be interesting to see what they're doing internally. They really seems to be focusing on their internal operations and experimenting with lots of different autonomous agents and things like that. But I think they're looking at each division and just seeing how far they can take it in terms of AI integration and as little human oversight as possible. Yeah, I don't think they're being really vocal around that. They have their AI tools that are available to the public. They've partnered with or purchased Manus, which is an AI agent. So how they're going to integrate those technologies is still happening and unfolding. So yeah, I think it's a watch this space sort of scenario, which is AI in general, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Talk to us about the ethical considerations being addressed in all of this AI development, because we see job cuts, we see the idea of watching what employees are doing and then making a decision about their future. Talk to us about the ethics of all of this, and is it being taken into consideration?
It doesn't seem to be. In this case, imagine being asked to wear something like a wearable that, knowing that what you're doing on your computer is being tracked to the degree to essentially put yourself out of a job. I'm not sure if they actually explained it in that way, but that's what actually has happened. So getting people to track their movements and their tasks, not to help to empower them, but to replace them, which is worrying, I think. So I wonder how transparent they're being from the outset about this sort of integration. I know when I work with organisations, it's not around that. It's more around empowering the workforce, having them involved, seeing what they can do to help create efficiencies, but also quality in their work. And it's not really about them losing their job. It's about helping them to do their jobs better. So this seems to be the completely other end of the scale.
All right, businesses using AI-generated images of the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to criticise his new capital gains tax reforms have been warned of potential legal repercussions. This is an interesting one. We've been watching a lot of anger after the budget from business and others. What are the main legal risks for businesses using AI-generated images of public figures?
Apparently, actually doing that in itself is not illegal, but it's how you're doing it. So if you're using an AI generated image of someone who actually exists and you are stating that they're officially partnering with you or they're supporting you or actually just showing them in something that's not true, that is against the law. You need to make it very clear that it is satire, and if you are open with the way that you are disclosing that you're using AI, that's okay. But as long as you make sure that it is clearly satire. I saw a post on LinkedIn yesterday and I hadn't seen this trend yet. And then I'm reading it and then I got it once I read the caption. But when I first saw it, I was like, oh, what? And it wasn't really disclosed there until I read the captions. If you're doing that sort of stuff, I know Nano Banana has that little star, that little sparkle that shows that it is AI generated. So making sure that you have that visible so people know the difference will protect you if you want to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's really funny. I don't know about you. My social media now is full of politicians. It could be Pauline Hanson. It could be the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Is there an aspect that when you're a public figure who's voted for, you're fair game? Or does it come into that concern about the concept of image rights?
I honestly think that the law is yet to catch up over it because copyright and AI images and things like that, there's still a lot of speculation around that, and the law is really unclear about that. But it's not really about the image itself, it's the way it's being used. So if you're using it in a way to try and trick people or deceive them, then that's the issue.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it as well. And the intent behind using the AI images too is pretty significant. We're seeing public figures like David Koch, who suddenly appears in your Facebook spruiking some product. And that is where there have been issues. But even then, the platforms have struggled to keep up with taking them down.
Oh, 100%, because they're so easy to create and you can create so many of them as well. And if you've got a big ad budget, yeah, you can have lots of things running from multiple accounts. So it is very difficult for the platforms to make that happen and to get rid of them. And just when one's taken down, another one can be put up. So yeah, it is very challenging.
All right, Karen Sutherland, appreciate your insights as always on Ticket.